So I'm really keen for people to realise that books don't come about from very clearly formed ideas. It's kind of like a sort of madness and nonsense. And you're sort of fishing around trying to find something that actually works, and most of the time it doesn't. And I think a lot of younger artists might sort of see the work of a professional artist and be a bit dismayed, thinking, I'll never be able to do that because my sketchbooks don't look like that. Mine look like a mess. And so I kind of quite keen to show to them the fact that my sketchbooks also look like a mess, and that most of my work that I do I consider failure, but occasionally there's successful pieces, and those are the pieces that happen to get published, and it creates the illusion that 100% of your work is successful. So I think it's important that people know that a lot of, like all these, quite developed drawings for illustrations that were just abandoned because they don't work for narrative reasons or technical reasons, or because they don't make sense, or they're just not powerful enough. And sometimes it's a shame that all these drawings just end up in a box under my table when they're actually quite interesting. And I often prefer my sketches to my finished artwork because they're so free and loose and dynamic. I don't talk too much about the details of technique. I mean, there is a sort of small chapters that talk about technique, how I actually produce the images, using different kinds of things like making everything from paper models to photographic reference, as well as drawing things straight out of my head. But generally, that sort of, I don't want to get too esoteric with that kind of stuff because it can be quite boring and a little bit nerdy. I mean, you do have to be a nerd to some extent to enjoy illustration as much as I do, like micro-focusing on ridiculous details. So this book is very much about stepping back, looking at the broad thing, and even more broadly than the book itself. So, actually taking into account how this fits in with my work as an artist, the fact that I've actually dealt with these themes in other work that people wouldn't know about, and a little bit about my family and how that affects the sort of things that I'm attracted towards.